The first rule of the Glimmerwood is that you don't trust the silence. Silence is what comes after the crystalline chimes of the Veridian Blight have found a new victim. Silence is the sound of roots and vines doing their slow, beautiful, terrible work. And for me, Kael, silence was the sound of money. The Geiger counter on my wrist crackled, a nervous, static heartbeat against the eerie quiet. My prize was close. A pre-Blight comms relay, buried for a century beneath this shimmering alien forest. Enough salvage to keep me in ration packs and filter cartridges for a year. I moved slow, my armored boots crunching softly on the glassy moss. Every step was a calculation. Don't touch the amberweep vines. Don't breathe the indigo spores. And whatever you do, don't break a single crystal leaf. The relay was half swallowed by the trunk of a colossal, petrified tree, its bark a kaleidoscope of glowing jade and sapphire. Easy money. I unslung my sonic drill, its low hum a profane noise in this sacred-feeling place. I was just lining up the bit when a flicker of movement caught my eye. Not the slow, patient growth of the blight, but something fast, alive. Before I could react, it was on me. A whirlwind of emerald leaves and coiled, thorny limbs. It wasn't an animal. It was the forest itself, coalesced into a single, furious form. I stumbled back, firing a shot from my sidearm. Not to kill, just to scare. The plasma bolt hissed past it and struck the ancient tree trunk, and the forest screamed. It wasn't a sound my ears could hear, but I felt it in my bones, a psychic shockwave that threw me to the ground. The Glimmerwood, which had been passively beautiful moments before, erupted into a frenzy. Crystalline flowers snapped shut like bear traps. The ground beneath me writhed as roots, sharp as spun glass, clawed their way to the surface. And lying at the base of the tree, caught in the blast I had caused, was a woman. No, not a woman. Her skin was the pale green of new spring leaves. Her hair a cascade of what looked like willow branches, woven with tiny, pulsing blue blossoms. She was one of them, a Sylvan. A ghost story told by scavengers to scare rookies out of the deep woods. And from a deep gash in her side, where my plasma bolt had ricocheted, she wasn't bleeding blood. She was bleeding light. A soft, golden luminescence that was already starting to fade. The whole forest wanted me dead. I could feel its rage, a pressure building in the air. My every instinct screamed at me to run, grab what I could and run. But I couldn't take my eyes off her. The light seeping from her wound was growing dimmer, and as it faded, the vibrant colors of the Glimmerwood around us began to dull, turning a sickly ashen gray. My stupid, greedy mistake wasn't just killing her. It was killing this entire section of the forest. I'd carried it for 5 years, a relic from my past I could never bring myself to sell. A pre-blight medkit containing 1 vial of symbiotic nanogel. A medical miracle, they'd called it. A miracle that worked by creating a perfect biological bridge between 2 subjects to facilitate healing. It was also wildly illegal, branded a perversion of nature, because the bridge it created was permanent. It linked 2 life forces into one, a shared existence. I'd seen it used once on a battlefield. When one man died, the other, 100 yards away, had simply dropped dead alongside him. I looked at the dying Sylvan, then at the gray, wilting forest. My fault, all of it. With trembling hands, I pulled the vial from my pack. "This is going to hurt us both," I muttered, my voice hoarse. I plunged the applicator into my own forearm, wincing as the cold gel spread beneath my skin, my veins lighting up with a faint golden tracery. Then, I knelt beside her, ignoring the glass-sharp roots tearing at my knees, and pressed the applicator to her wound. The moment the gel connected our bodies, the universe folded in on itself. Her pain became my pain, a searing, tearing agony that stole my breath. But beneath it, I felt something else, a vast, ancient consciousness. The collective mind of the Glimmerwood. I felt the life of every leaf, the slow thoughts of every root, the deep, dreaming slumber of the petrified giants. And I felt them all dying. Then, through that torrent of alien sensation, a single thought, clear as a bell, echoed in my mind. Not hers, but the forest's, speaking through her. Why? The golden light of the nanogel flared, knitting the wound in her side closed. The forest around us held its breath. The roots stopped tearing at me. The snapping flowers fell silent. Her eyes, the color of moss and morning mist, fluttered open and fixed on mine. And in their depths, I saw my own reflection, a terrified man who had just tethered his soul to a ghost story. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't empty. It was watching, waiting. And for the first time, I realized I was no longer alone in my own head. Consciousness returned in jarring fragments. The scent of damp earth and ozone, the feeling of cool, soft moss beneath my cheek, a dull, rhythmic ache in my side that was both mine and not mine. I opened my eyes. The Sylvan was sitting a few feet away, her back against a crystal-barked tree. Her wound was gone, replaced by a faint, shimmering scar that pulsed with a soft, golden light. My forearm, where I'd injected myself, bore a matching scar. She was watching me, her expression unreadable. When she spoke, her voice wasn't a sound, but a thought that blossomed directly in my mind, layered with the rustle of 1,000 leaves. You feel it too. The thread. I pushed myself up, my whole body aching. I could feel her, a constant, low-level hum in the back of my skull. It was intimate, unsettling. It's called sim gel, I thought back, the process feeling clumsy and loud compared to her. It saved you. It saved the forest. It also tethered us. For life. She tilted her head, the blue blossoms in her hair pulsing softly. Life. A strange concept for a taker. I'm a scavenger, not a taker, I grumbled, getting to my feet. And I was scavenging a comms relay before you and your garden attacked me. A flicker of something, amusement, annoyance, rippled through our connection. You burned the Heart-Wood. You brought a weapon of fire and noise into the deep quiet. The wood defended itself. It always does. I looked at the ancient tree. A dark, ugly scorch mark marred its crystalline bark. The scream I'd felt. That had been the tree's pain, and I had felt it through her. Look, I'm sorry, I said, the words feeling inadequate. I just need the relay. I'll get it, and I'll be out of your hair. The wood will not permit it, and you cannot leave, she stated, with a frustrating calmness. She pointed a slender green-tinged finger at my chest, or rather, at the bond between us. The thread has a length, a tension. If you move too far from me, you will feel it. It will pull you back, or it will break, and we will both unravel. Panic, cold and sharp, spiked in my chest. I felt a corresponding flicker of alarm from her, a feedback loop of my own fear. I took a step back. Then another. The hum between us tightened, becoming a dissonant thrum. An invisible cord was pulling taut, and a nauseating vertigo washed over me. She was right. We were chained together. Before I could process the full horror of that, a new sound cut through the silence. The distant mechanical roar of an engine. It was a sound that didn't belong here, a brutal intrusion of metal and oil. The Sylvan shot to her feet, her calm demeanor shattering. I felt a wave of pure, undiluted terror from her, so potent it made my own heart hammer against my ribs. They are here. The cleansers. Cleansers? You mean the purifiers? I stared in the direction of the sound. The purifiers were a myth, a boogeyman. A militaristic cult that believed the Veridian Blight was a planetary disease that had to be cauterized down to the bedrock. No one had seen them in years. They hunt me, her thought was a frantic whisper. They believe I am the heart of the Blight. They want to cut me out, hoping the body will die. The roar grew louder. A heavy-class transport by the sound of it. They weren't just exploring. They were deploying. Are you? I asked, my hand instinctively going to my sidearm. Are you the heart of the Blight? She finally looked at me, and for the first time I saw past the alien strangeness. I saw a young woman terrified and alone. Through our bond, I felt the crushing weight of her duty, her loneliness. No, I am not the heart. I am the song, and they have come to silence me. A red flare shot up into the sky a few clicks to the south, a bloody stain against the twilight canopy. A search pattern. They knew where we were, or at least where the energy surge from our bonding had occurred. Right, I said, my own fear solidifying into grim resolve. New plan. We run. I grabbed my pack. My sonic drill and the comms relay lay forgotten. They were just dead weight now. All that mattered was the invisible chain connecting me to this terrified forest girl, and the heavily armed fanatics who were coming to kill us both. She hesitated, looking back at the scarred heartwood. Through the bond, I felt her sorrow, her sense of failure. She was its guardian, and she had to abandon it. I didn't have time for sentiment. I grabbed her arm. The moment my skin touched hers, the bond flared. For a split second, I was overwhelmed by her memories. 1,000 years of sunlight filtering through crystal leaves, the taste of morning dew, the deep, slow-motion ballet of roots growing through the earth. It was beautiful and it was dizzying. I pulled her along. "Come on! Mourn later, run now!" Her bare feet were silent on the glassy terrain, while my armored boots seemed to cannon loud. We plunged deeper into the Glimmerwood, the roars of the Purifier engines echoing behind us. I was no longer a scavenger. I was a fugitive, shackled to a mystery, running from a nightmare I hadn't believed existed an hour ago. And with every frantic heartbeat, I could feel the thread between us. A constant reminder that her life was mine, and mine was hers. We ran for what felt like hours. The canopy overhead so thick that the sky was just a memory. The Glimmerwood changed around us, the familiar greens and blues giving way to stranger, more dangerous biome. Bioluminescent fungi pulsed in angry reds and oranges. The air grew thick, heavy with the scent of unknown blossoms and decay. My body screamed in protest, but I couldn't slow down, because through the bond, I could feel her terror, a constant, sharp counterpoint to my own exhaustion. "They are close," she sent, her thought ragged. "They have trackers, machines that smell the scar of the blight." "They're tracking you," I corrected, panting as I hauled myself over a fallen, crystal-encrusted log. "I'm just the unlucky idiot who got himself tangled up with you." I felt a flash of her indignation, a surprising heat that cut through her fear. "You chose to forge the thread, Taker. You could have left me to unravel." "Yeah, well, I'm starting to regret my momentary lapse into heroism," I shot back. We slid down a muddy embankment into a narrow ravine. The walls were slick with phosphorescent algae, casting our frantic escape in a ghostly green light. I stumbled, my ankle twisting. A sharp, white-hot pain lanced up my leg. 100 feet away, she cried out and collapsed, clutching her own ankle. I stared at her, then down at my leg, the reality of our situation crashing down on me with renewed force. My pain was her pain. Every scrape, every bruise, every agonizing muscle cramp, she was feeling it too, and I could feel the echo of her own exhaustion, the deep, bone weariness of a creature who was not built for this kind of brutal, physical exertion. "Okay," I breathed, forcing myself up and limping over to her. "Okay, this is a problem." She looked up at me, her moss-green eyes wide. "Everything is a problem. The purifiers, the thread, your incredible clumsiness." I couldn't help a short, sharp laugh, even as plasma fire suddenly erupted at the top of the ravine, showering us with dirt and superheated steam. "Get up!" I yelled, this time out loud, hauling her to her feet. "They found us!" We scrambled deeper into the ravine, plasma bolts splashing against the slick walls behind us. The bond was a chaotic storm of shared adrenaline and terror. But something else was happening too. Her knowledge of the Glimmerwood was bleeding into my mind. I saw pathways I would have missed, ways the roots and rocks formed natural cover. At the same time, my tactical sense, honed by years of scavenging in hostile territory, was flowing to her. She began to move more efficiently, anticipating the angles of fire, using the terrain to her advantage without my needing to say a word. We found a fissure in the ravine wall, barely wide enough to squeeze through, hidden behind a curtain of weeping, glowing moss. We tumbled into the darkness beyond, landing in a cramped, earthy-smelling cavern. Outside, we could hear the heavy, clanking footsteps of Purifier armor. A scanner beam, a brilliant red line of light, sliced through the darkness above our hiding spot. We held our breath, pressed close together in the suffocating dark. And the bond, no longer drowned out by the chaos of the chase, began to hum with a different kind of information. I was getting more than just her fear now. I was getting her. Flashes of her life, watching the seasons turn from a sun-drenched grove, feeling the joy of a new sprout breaking through the crystal soil, the immense, crushing loneliness of being the only one of her kind, a singular consciousness in a forest of silent thought, and she was getting me. I felt her flinch as my own memories, ugly and sharp-edged, flooded the connection. The day the Blight first emerged. Not as a beautiful forest, but as a gray, creeping plague that consumed cities. I was a boy. I remembered my mother's hand slipping from mine as the quarantine barricades slammed shut. I remembered watching her be consumed, not by shimmering crystals, but by a horrifying, cancerous growth. The early Blight was a monster. It had taken everything from me. My cynicism, my distrust, my solitary existence. It was all a fortress I'd built around that one, unforgivable memory. You hate the Blight. Her thought was soft, laced with a sorrow that was now partly for me. But what you saw, that was not its true nature. That was a fever. The world was sick, poisoned by your ancestors. The Blight was the world's immune response, a desperate, chaotic attempt to heal itself. The fever. It burned too hot. It almost consumed everything, but it broke. And what grew back? This. I felt her gentle pride, the love she had for the shimmering, dangerous beauty of her home. This is the scar. A beautiful scar, not a disease. Tell that to my mother, I thought back, the old anger a bitter taste in my mouth. Outside, the footsteps of the Purifiers faded as they moved on. We were safe, for now. She reached out in the darkness, her cool, soft hand finding my scarred forearm. The bond flared with warmth. The world your ancestors built was the disease, Kael. The Blight was the cure. You just couldn't see it. I will show you. Lying there in the dark, my pain echoing in her, and her ancient loneliness seeping into me, I realized the chain between us wasn't just a tether. It was a bridge. And I had no idea where it was leading. All I knew was that the woman I'd hated in theory my entire life was the only reason I was still alive. And the monster I'd spent my life running from was now a part of me. We followed the subterranean tunnels for what felt like a day, guided by her innate sense of the world above. The bond had settled into a strange new rhythm. We shared everything now, not just pain and fear, but hunger, thirst, the weariness in our bones. It was a constant, unnerving intimacy. There were no secrets left. She felt the hollow ache in my soul left by my family, and I felt the profound, eons-deep solitude that defined her existence. She was the forest's consciousness, its awareness, but she was still, in the end, alone. The tunnels eventually opened into a vast, breathtaking cavern. It was a cathedral made of light. Giant, luminous crystals, the size of skyscrapers, grew from the floor and ceiling, bathing everything in a soft, multicolored glow. A gentle river, its water clear and shimmering with dissolved minerals, flowed through the center. The Heart-Lode. Her thought was filled with reverence. This is where the Glimmerwood drinks. The energy of the world wells up here. It is a place of healing. She knelt by the riverbank and cupped the glowing water in her hands, drinking deeply. I felt a cool, soothing wave of relief wash through me as she did, my own thirst slaking, the ache in my muscles easing. I knelt beside her and drank myself. The water tasted like starlight and cold stone, and I felt strength I hadn't realized I'd lost flowing back into me. For a while, we just sat in silence. The only sound, the gentle chiming of the great crystals as air currents drifted past them. "They'll find us eventually," I finally said, my spoken voice sounding harsh in the tranquil space. "The Purifiers. They won't give up." "I know." She traced a pattern on the damp, sandy ground. "Their leader. I can feel his hatred. It is a poison in the world. It is like the fever blight, hot and without reason." Through the bond, I felt a tremor of her memory of the Purifier leader. A man in stark white armor, his face hidden behind a polarized visor. But the rage coming off him was a palpable force. "What do they want?" I asked. "If you're not the Heart, what's their end game?" "Wiping out the entire forest is impossible. It covers a third of the continent." She looked up from the river, her mossy eyes troubled. "There is a place, a scar from your world, a great weapon that sleeps beneath the earth. They believe they can use it to amplify a signal, a frequency that will shatter the crystalline structure of the Blight. It will not just kill the Glimmerwood, Kael. It will turn this continent into a desert of gray dust. They will sterilize the world to save it." My blood ran cold. I knew the place she was talking about. Project Nightingale. The largest sonic weapon ever built, a pre-Blight doomsday device designed to cause earthquakes on the other side of the planet. It had been decommissioned a decade before the Blight emerged. If the Purifiers got it working, we have to stop them, I said. The words came out before I could even think about them. Me, the man who only ever looked out for himself, was volunteering for a suicide mission. She gave me a long, searching look. I could feel her probing my intentions through the bond, feeling the shift in me. The anger was still there, the grief, but it was no longer pointed at her or the Blight. It was aimed at the Purifiers, at the same blind hate that had taken my mother, the kind that would rather burn the world than learn to live with it. To reach the weapon, we must go through the Withering, she said, her thought a grave warning. It is a place where the Blight fever never fully healed. The wood there is mad, unpredictable. Doesn't matter, I said, getting to my feet. My ankle still throbbed, a dull reminder of our connection. You can guide us. And I know pre-Blight tech. I can figure out a way to disable that weapon. A new feeling bloomed across the bond from her. It was fragile, hesitant, but unmistakable. It was hope. Kael, we can disable it. For the first time, the thread between us didn't feel like a chain. It felt like a lifeline. We were two broken pieces of two different worlds, fused together by a desperate act. She, the last song of a world reborn, and me, the last ghost of a world that had died. And together, we were going to war. The journey through the Withering was a descent into a nightmare. Here, the crystalline structures of the Blight were twisted and diseased. Shards of black, obsidian-like glass grew like thorns, and the air hummed with a discordant energy that scraped at my nerves. The bond between us became a conduit for shared agony. The mad, pained thoughts of the sickened forest flooded our minds, a constant chorus of static and misery. We saw crystalline creatures, malformed and aggressive, that hunted in the perpetual twilight. More than once, we were saved only by our shared senses. I would see a predator a split second before it attacked, and she would feel the shift in the earth beneath its feet, our combined warnings giving us just enough time to scramble for cover. We were becoming a single cohesive unit. My thoughts and her instincts, her senses and my strategy, all woven together. In the heart of the Withering, we found the entrance to the Nightingale facility. A massive blast door covered in a century of diseased growth. It was sealed tight. No way through, I said, running my hand over the cold, unyielding metal. Alara placed her palm on the door. She closed her eyes. The wood is in pain here. It remembers the fire that built this place. It is trying to swallow it, to heal it. But this metal is poison to it. I looked closer. The Blight vines were shying away from the door, their edges blackened and dead where they'd tried to gain purchase. I rummaged in my pack, my fingers closing around the last of my useful salvage. A plasma cutter. It was small, designed for opening stubborn salvage crates, not breaching a military bunker. This is going to be loud, I warned her. And it'll take everything the battery has. Do it. The shriek of the cutter was deafening after the tortured silence of the Withering. I worked for hours, sweat pouring down my face, the feedback of Alara's anxiety and the forest's agony making my head pound. Finally, with a groan of tortured metal, a section of the door fell inward, opening a dark, gaping hole into the past. The air that wafted out was stale, cold, and smelled of ozone and dust. Inside, the facility was a tomb. Emergency lights cast long, dancing shadows down sterile corridors. Skeletons in rotted military uniforms were slumped at their posts. Casualties not of war, but of time. Using my knowledge of pre-Blight schematics, I led us through the labyrinthine complex deeper and deeper underground. The bond was a strange comfort in the oppressive silence. We didn't need to speak. Our shared purpose was a silent conversation. We found the control room. It was a vast, circular chamber dominated by a holographic map of the continent. And standing before the main console, his white armor looking pristine and ghastly in the gloom, was the Purifier leader. He wasn't alone. A dozen heavily armed Purifiers flanked him. They had gotten here first. He turned as we entered, and the ambient light glinted off his helmet. The Sylvan, and a taker reeking of the Blight's corruption. His voice was amplified, metallic, and utterly devoid of warmth. You are too late. The song of this world is about to be silenced. He pressed a button on the console. The great crystals in the Heart-Lode cavern, the ones that had healed us, appeared on the holographic map. A complex targeting matrix began to overlay them. He wasn't just targeting the facility. He was using the facility to target the Heart-Lode itself. "You're insane," I breathed. "That won't just kill the Blight. It will shatter the planet's crust! You'll destroy everything!" The leader let out a cold, humorless laugh. "A small price to pay for purity. This world must be cleansed of its sickness so that humanity can begin anew." He lifted his helmet. The face beneath was old, scarred, and etched with a grief so profound it had curdled into madness. His eyes, pale and fanatic, locked onto me. I watched the Blight devour my family. My wife, my daughter, it wrapped them in its foul embrace, and I could do nothing. I will not allow that pain to exist in the world any longer. Ilara stepped forward, her voice a true sound now, clear and resonant in the dead air of the control room. "The pain you felt was real. The fever was real. But the world has healed. Look around you. There can be balance. There is no balance with disease," he roared, slamming his helmet back on. "There is only excision." "Fire the sequence!" The Purifier soldiers raised their weapons. There was no escape. But as the countdown began to flash on the main screen, Ilara met my gaze. Through the bond, her intention flowed into me, pure and resolute and terrifying. She was going to pour all of her life force, the collected energy of the Glimmerwood that she embodied, into the weapon systems. She would overload it, burn it out from the inside, a suicide play. It would be like trying to pour a river into a glass. It would shatter her. And because of our bond, it would shatter me. "Two, there is no other way," she sent, a deep, aching farewell in the thought. "No," I sent back, my mind racing, piecing together fragments of old tech manuals and Ilara's own understanding of energy flow. "Don't block it. Reroute it. You are the song. Sing a different one." Her confusion lasted only a second before she grasped my meaning. The Nightingale weapon wasn't just a weapon. It was a giant sonic amplifier. The Purifiers were feeding it a frequency of destruction. But if she could introduce a different frequency, a song of healing, of growth, the feedback would be immense, she warned. It would destroy any organic matter in the control chamber. "We are not just organic matter anymore," I thought, my hand finding hers, our scarred forearms pressing together. The bond between us flared, brighter and stronger than ever before. We were a bridge. Her living energy, my technical knowledge, "What are you doing?" the Purifier leader demanded as the chamber began to hum. The lights flickering wildly, Ilara closed her eyes and placed her hand on the console. I put my own hand over hers. She began to sing, not with her voice, but with her soul. Through the bond, she poured the essence of the Glimmerwood, the harmony of light and growth, the slow patience of stone, the resilience of life, into the cold, dead heart of the machine. The destructive countdown timer faltered. The targeting matrix flickered and died. A new light filled the holographic map, a soft golden glow spreading out from the facility, not of destruction, but of creation. The sonic weapon, instead of broadcasting death, was now broadcasting Ilara's song of life across the entire continent. The feedback hit us like a physical blow. The Purifier soldiers screamed as the wave of pure life energy washed over them, their armor smoking, their weapons clattering to the floor. The leader staggered back, clutching his head. "No, purity! Cleansing!" he shrieked before the energy consumed him, leaving only an empty suit of white armor. For us, the experience was different. Agony and ecstasy entwined. I felt my human cells being torn apart and rewritten. I felt the sim gel in our veins acting as a conduit, a lightning rod, protecting us from the worst of the blast, but channeling the transformation through us. My arm, the one touching the console, erupted in blinding light. I saw the deep, slow memories of the planet itself. The formation of mountains, the birth of oceans, the first spark of life. I was Kael, and I was the forest, and I was the stone, and I was the song. And then as the energy peaked, there was only a great silent white light. I awoke to the sound of dripping water. My entire body felt rearranged. I was lying on the floor of the control room, my head pillowed in Ilara's lap. She was stroking my hair, the blossoms in her own hair glowing with a soft, steady light. The purifiers were gone. The room was silent, save for the hum of the now pacified machine. I sat up, a groan escaping my lips. I felt different. The constant nagging ache of old injuries was gone. The fortress around my heart had crumbled. The grief for my mother was still there, but it was no longer a jagged wound. It was a soft, quiet memory, a part of a much larger tapestry. Then I looked at my arm. From the tips of my fingers to my shoulder, my arm was no longer flesh and blood. It was a seamless fusion of my own skin and smooth, jade-colored wood, with veins of the golden sim gel running through it like inlay. It felt strong, alive. It felt like a part of me. Alara held up her own hand. A similar, though more delicate tracery of gold now shimmered on her leafy skin. "The song has changed us," she said, her thought calm and clear. "The weapon is dormant. It sleeps, and it dreams of growth now, not of death. The Heart-Lode is safe." I looked at her, truly looked at her. The line between us, the thread, that had once felt like a prison, was now a quiet, unbreakable certainty. It wasn't just a shared life force. It was a shared soul. "So what now?" I thought, flexing the fingers of my new, strange hand. She smiled, a slow, beautiful expression that felt like the sun breaking through the canopy after a long rain. "Now, we find the other songs." I felt her meaning cascade through the bond. The Glimmerwood wasn't the only place the Blight had taken root and healed. There were other places all across the world, other lonely guardians. The weapon hadn't just been pacified. We had turned it into a communications relay. For the first time, the scattered, isolated parts of the world's new consciousness could speak to one another. And we were the ones who had opened the line. We emerged from the Nightingale facility, not into the mad twilight of the Withering, but into a dawn that was vibrant with new life. The twisted black crystals had softened, their sharp edges now glowing with a gentle golden light. The discordant hum was gone, replaced by a gentle, harmonious chime. Ilara's song had not just saved the world, it had begun to heal it. Standing on that precipice, looking out at a world we had pulled back from the brink, I felt the last of the old Kael, the bitter, lonely scavenger, fall away. I was something new. We were something new. My hand, my strange, Sylvan hand, found hers, and it felt like coming home. The journey ahead was vast and unknown, but for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid, because I wasn't alone. So many stories end with a battle won or a world saved. But ours was just beginning. Each day is a new verse in the song we started in that cold, dead place. We've spent years now walking the quiet paths of the Glimmerwood, a bridge between two worlds. I teach her about the stars my ancestors once dreamed of reaching, and she shows me how to listen to the slow, steady heartbeat of the earth beneath my feet. We found the others, the guardian of the coral mazes in the drowned coastal cities, the keeper of the crimson sands in the great sun-scorched desert, the shepherd of the whispering peaks, all of them, isolated for a century, now connected by the song we broadcast. A new world is being woven, one of balance, of respect. Humanity isn't gone, it's just quieter now. Learning. The small settlements that are rising on the edge of the Glimmerwood no longer see the forest as a threat, but as a partner. They call us the Wardens. My arm is a constant reminder of the choice I made. Sometimes, when the light is just right, I can see the sap moving beneath the smooth bark skin, flowing in time with the blood in the rest of my body. It is a strange and beautiful harmony. We never did break the bond. We learned to live with it, to cherish it. Her pain is still my pain, but her joy is my joy. magnified 1,000 times over. It is a gift I never knew I needed. Thank you for walking this path with us, for listening to our story. It's a reminder that even from the deepest wounds, the most beautiful scars can grow, that sometimes, connecting with another, truly connecting, can transform not just our own lives, but the entire world around us. If our story resonated with you, if it made you think or feel, please consider leaving a like or sharing your own thoughts in the comments below. And if you'd like to join us for more journeys into strange and wondrous worlds, be sure to subscribe. There are always more stories waiting to be told, more songs waiting to be sung. Until next time, be kind to the world around you, and be kind to yourself.